In the days following the debate, several House members have called for President Biden to be replaced as the nominee. Some House Republicans have even brought up the 25th Amendment. Joining us now with where he stands, Congressman Byron Donalds. His name has been floated as a potential VP pick for Donald Trump. And Congressman, good to see you again. I think we saw a couple of weeks ago. Thanks for joining us.
Of course, good to be with you.
We just had former Senator Governor Judd Gregg on, and this is what he said, and I'll let you respond to it, and you tell me whether you agree. He said if Biden stays in, the Democrats lose the White House and most likely the House and the Senate. He said if he does agree to exit and a younger candidate is put in, he mentioned Governor Gretchen Whitmer, that at that point the Democrats could keep the White House and probably have the Senate and the House. So do you agree with that? And why would any Republican be supporting the Democrats removing Joe Biden?
Well, first of all, I'll tell you, as far as I'm concerned, it doesn't matter whether it's Joe Biden, Gretchen Whitmer, Gavin Newsom, Kamala Harris, or anybody else, because at the end of the day, their agenda remains the same. Gretchen and Gavin might be able to explain it better, but the agenda is still terrible for the American people. You'll still have massive open borders. You'll still have massive overspending at the federal level. There'll be no serious decisions to try to curb inflation or to make America energy dominant across the globe. In a lot of respects, you'll still have the same feckless foreign policy that got us into the position we're in right now, whether it's Ukraine or whether it's our ally Israel. So they might have somebody who looks better on camera, but the agenda doesn't change. And that's the fundamental problem. I think that no matter who they put up, it won't matter because Donald Trump has been president. He did a job where the country was secured, where the economy was doing very, very well, and where there was no new wars across the globe. And so they could pick who they want to. At the end of the day, this is going to be a Joe Biden decision. But I think what the biggest thing overall is that the Democrat Party as a whole and the media covered this up. The stories are rampant through Washington, D.C. that Joe Biden is not with us. How come it never got out? That's because they were covering for him because they are covering for the agenda that they all want to happen throughout America, which has failed the American people.
Congressman, do you think, if you don't think anyone else could win, do you think that there'd be a difference between if it was Gretchen Whitmer or, and I don't know, the whole Vice President Harris situation, I'm not sure how they deal with that. I don't really have much pity for the position they're in, obviously, but because they're painting themselves into a corner. But do you think it would be closer? I know you have to say you think Donald Trump's going to win, but there's a lot of people that aren't necessarily voting for Joe Biden or Gretchen Whitmer. They're just voting against Donald Trump. You think it'd be some people think a younger Democrat could win because it's anybody but Trump. You don't see anything to that notion.
Well, I think that if you look at recent polling that came out around that question, it doesn't really matter who the Democrats pick. Okay. They all lose. When you go down that ladder, Gretchen Whitmer, et cetera, the margin is even wider. And so that's what I'm saying. At the end of the day, I don't really think it's going to matter one way or the other. The biggest concern is that Joe Biden is president now. It is crystal clear. Everybody is concerned. Can he do that job for 4 more years? That answer is no. People are concerned, can he do that job for 4 more months? That's the bigger question right now. And this is because the Democrats have decided that they chose party power over doing what is right for the country. It is clear that is the case. So, I mean, look, like I said, they might be able to explain it better, but it doesn't matter. The agenda items will remain the same.
Do you think that the ticket will be Joe Biden and Kamala Harris when it's all said and done, Congressman, or you don't think that's a possibility?
I'm not going to predict that. I'm not going to predict it. That's in the hands of Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. They got to make that decision. I will say that if Joe Biden decides to step away and the Democrats try to step over Kamala Harris, they're going to have a bigger problem on their hands. But I'll let them deal with that. I'm just going to watch it, and we're going to go campaign and make sure that Donald Trump's the 47th president of the United States.
I think it does highlight that sometimes you think of the vice president as sort of not necessarily that important, but it highlights how important it is. And Donald Trump, I don't know when you expect that decision, and you never really have any comments on who you think it should be, but it should be someone that can step into that role immediately. And I'm not sure they were really thinking of that, the Democrats.
Well, look, I think that when you're talking about the vice presidency or any other position, it's really about judgment. Can you look at information and make quality decisions? Are you going to make political decisions? Are you going to make ideological decisions? Or are you going to make the right decisions? And I think that everybody on President Trump's list, we all have one thing in common. We look at the information and we make an appropriate decision for the American people. So I think whoever he picks is going to work as a partner with him to put the country back on track. That's what really needs to be decided. President Trump's going to make that decision. He's going to make a great one.